You had what?
Hadn't went live yet.
Oh,
I thought I had.
you had what kind of
Mm-hmm.
logged in kind of?
Right, you got to push start. I hadn't pushed start.
Oh.
So,
Is it working on your end?
yeah. Well, I mean, but I can't tell how good it's running.
Oh, because you need somebody from the other side,
Right.
right?
Can instruct me.
Oh, when you talk, it shows up in green.
Is it on there?
Yeah.
Oh.
All right, cool. All right. This is a little bit more up close and personal. I don't know if I like it.
They're
all
going to see if you got any acne or anything.
Yeah, man. I didn't put on my makeup or nothing.
Exactly.
My blush. I'm scared. Nothing.
Shut.
I'm out here all bare.
Right.
You can have that nose hit.
You know, make sure it's clipped and everything now.
That's right, man. Tighten it up. Be like Archie Bell on the drought.
You know. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and
Get it going.
yeah, we're gonna get it popping.
All right.
I think we started ended on 2, right?
Huh?
I think we ended on amendment 2.
No, we haven't even done amendment 1.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we stopped right there. And then periodically, if you don't mind, check the YouTube and see, make sure
everything is cool.
yeah. I wonder, can I do it too? Let's see.
Were you able to check it when it was live stream?
Yeah.
Oh.
Cause it's too much bandwidth being used on okay. All right, looks like we should be straight.
Did he go just to the door or he went downstairs? Yeah, because if he went downstairs, he locked himself out. Yeah.
All right.
Nobody? Oh, okay.
All right. So we need to put the prayer up.
Yeah, it's helpful.
Okay. I gotta figure out how to share screen and all that stuff on here.
Oh, you split it?
Yeah, I can share screen. Let me see. Chat. Oh, look at you. Oh, genius. What the heck did you just have me do? Okay. Oh, maybe that's why. Now see if that's what it should. That ain't what I want.
No, you can sit anywhere in here if you want.
Yeah, anywhere you good.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah, because we're not.
Yeah, we're not. Yeah.
Stop it and then do it again. That happens.
Be patient with me, y'all. I'm trying to figure this thing out. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Oh, I see.
Got it. Now we good. Okay. 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 Cool. Here we are.
So,
Okay. How you doing, good brother? Moorish American prayer. All right. 2 on the right, 5 on the left. And Allah, Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. Allah, the Father of the universe, the Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. Allah, the Father of the universe, Father of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. 7.
One more.
Freedom and justice. Allah is my protector, my guide, and my salvation, by night and by day, through his holy prophet, Drew Ali. Amen. All right, so okay, so we finished up the all the articles 1 through 7. So let's go back, take a few minutes to highlight and what everyone was able to grasp and really take, one at a time. Just go back through, what you got, from there. We'll start with who's prepared.
Well, I could say, like in the preamble, I don't know what the part of English it is, but when we talk about we the people of the United States, saying that the people, 2 separate entities coming together to squash a beef that's been going on for thousands of years, that was really insightful. Meaning, between the us being Moors and dealing with the Albion, to create a government so that we can kind of live cooperatively together. That was a big deal.
This is not for everyone else to answer. We're going to go one at a time. Tell me about the proof that can be presented that shows that the 2 different entities, and tell me about what can be used to show that these wars have been going on for thousands of years.
Well, the first part of it, I don't have it.
Okay.
Okay, as far as, because I know it has something to do with, if I remember right,
okay,
saying that basically it's two different entities that are coming together, harmony of both. The second one, I guess you could go back as far as back to like the Punic Wars. From that time all the way now, it's basically been the same war between the Moors, ourselves, and the Albions going at each other, trying to either control or subjugate one another.
Okay, a good starting place.
Okay. The question was, how do we
What can be the proof
that there were two people?
that they're right? Right. That there are two different entities showing, and then what is the proof that these wars have been going on for thousands of years? Now, hold on, because I'll ask you the same question. But go ahead and finish telling me what else you've grasped.
Oh, what we're talking about right now in particular?
Yeah, just out of that.
Out of that.
All
right.
You all can take those two. Those doesn't matter. You're good.
And so the next part of that, in order to form a more perfect union, so that's another tip, that is two different entities dealing with each other, because you can't have a union if it's just one entity.
Okay. Okay. Any of the articles? If you're listening online, you still are able to use the chat. So go to your chat option because the chat is open too for questions and all those other things. So want to make sure everyone on the chat can also hear well. So I asked that question, so respond whenever you get on your chat.
I can't find it right now, Romeo, but
Okay.
The part where it talks about how the president and the vice president get elected.
Okay, that's under the executive branch.
Okay, that was for me, that was mind blowing, because nowhere in there talks about a popular vote for the president. So that's when I realized that what we've been doing, what I've been participating in, is like a sham. It's not for real.
Okay. So those were the main factors that stood out to you
For
so
me,
far?
yeah.
Okay.
Really.
All right.
So of course, like the preamble, of course, we know we, the people, being the Aboriginals in the United States.
And how do we know that?
The preposition of.
Okay.
We know that, and what he mentions is forming a perfect union of the two coming together. I guess that's one case, and the other one is Article 6, where at least to me, Article 6 shows that where it enforces the treaties that were made prior, and looking into that, that.
Talk up a little bit.
So I'm saying Article 6 also speaks of enforcing prior treaties and contracts made, and if you know of the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, you know it was a treaty between the Moors and the Christians, and if you talk in detail about pretty much coming to an agreement to stop the war that were happening between the two nations, Europeans and the Moors. That's another one.
Now I'm gonna keep reminding everyone to speak up loudly because I want to make sure that they hear when you're talking. So if you're talking too low, they won't hear you. They'll just hear me because I'm close. So. And then what of the articles?
The Treaty of Vienna. Is that one of the articles? The Treaty of Vienna.
Are you talking about and dealing with what? Which one? Of what?
Dealing with the King of Morocco with George Washington.
Okay. What we're talking about is what everyone remembers from the first 7 articles of the Constitution, including the preamble. So the Treaty of Vienna can be introduced, but is not necessarily qualified for this part. So we can come back to it though. You got anything else for the article?
Yeah, for me, I forget which.
Hold on, Paul. Hold on 1 second. Are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, go ahead, Paul.
I forget which article it was, but it was stating that no titles of nobility could be dealt out. So there's no such thing as like doctors or lawyers. There's only people that practicing law and practicing, being a doctor.
What I want you all to do is get you some highlight markers. So that when you're going through these documents, you can be highlighting those things so that when we're having those conversations, you can go back right to where, things, when it stands out, you highlight it. So that when we're talking about what stands out to you and you're saying, dealing with the part with the tree, the titles of nobility or, the preamble, the all those things highlight. You know what I'm saying? Because that's how you're going to, when you're dealing with other people and you have, your copy, you want to be able to flip to it. And by highlighting, it's going to allow you to flip to that, and not be, looking unscholarly by, that don't look good when you're trying to necessarily teach someone else. You want to be able to, move quickly and show it to them. Go ahead, Paul.
Okay. That was pretty much it. Do you know which article it is that says that no titles of nobility can be dealt out?
Article 2, section 9.
Is that what it is? 2-9? Oh, I have it highlighted. But now I have it highlighted in a red pen, not my normal highlighter.
Article 1, section. Article 1, section.
Okay, so okay, what do you got, Sabir? No, what do you remember from the articles?
I remember Article 1, Section 9, where it mentions no bill of attainder or ex post facto law shall be passed.
Okay.
And a bill of attainder is when you hold someone without a trial or a conviction. And usually in those cases, it relates to treason and death.
Okay. All right, and what else you got from any other articles that stood out to you? Okay. Now, Article 6, Section 1, what is that? That's one of the things that everyone should always remember, Article 6, Section 1.
Oh, that's telling you that all treaties entered, for instance, the Treaty of Peace and Friendship would also be eligible as well. And it said all debts contracted and engagement entered into before the adoption of this Constitution shall be as valid against the United States under this Constitution as under the Confederation.
Okay. Now, this is called the Supremacy Clause. Why is it called? Why is Article 6, Section 1, Paragraph 2 called the Supremacy Clause? Talk louder.
It states that the Constitution is to acknowledge the land.
Okay. So, by that, what is the major key that it says in that paragraph?
Basically, if anything goes against the Constitution, it doesn't stand.
Period. Including anything within the Constitution. So if something is within the body of the Constitution that is against the Constitution, then it doesn't stand. Period. And in any state or any law within any state, if it contradicts the Constitution, it doesn't stand. And that's the whole reason to really key in on understanding the Constitution in the first place. Without that, the Constitution would almost be irrelevant. Without Article 6, the Supremacy Clause, the Constitution is not worth studying. You see what I'm saying? That makes it worth studying, because that's where you have to understand how to enforce the Constitution. That's what allows you to be able to enforce the Constitution, is Article 6. You see? So, and when it's telling you that anything in the Constitution or laws of any state to the contrary notwithstanding. So that supersedes everything. Supersedes everything. Okay, now as far as the wars that we're talking about, the wars start at the Punic Wars. We can start there. No matter whether we're talking about Christian Crusades, Spanish Inquisition, Spanish American Wars, American Indian Wars, and we know that they're using the term American co-opting our birthright. Okay, but this is what they call them. So for the sake of this is what they call them, that's what we'll use. Those are all Punic Wars. Okay, now those are all us against the generally against the Christian. Now Christian is code for Roman. Okay, the Roman institution. Roman is red man, so it's always going to be dealing with the Albion. Now that doesn't mean that we weren't Christians, but we're talking about government and institution. Okay. So that doesn't mean that we weren't in Greece and Rome, but we're talking about certain governmental factions and in particular these different wars that were going on. Okay, so when we say Christian, we're automatically talking about Albions, automatically. Okay, so whether we're talking about the doctrine of discovery, or any of those materials that allow them to come and colonize the dominions of the Moors. That's what they were dealing with. 1492 is the marking spot that they'll go back to, because that is when the domino effect of us falling in and Al-Andalus. Where's Al-Andalus? What is that? Okay. So that the domino effect of us falling there spun around the whole world. And this is how we fail everywhere. Once that failed, then all the other places began to fall. Now that doesn't mean that in many cases, of course, we're selling each other out. Okay, so when we go and we look at what's going on in these different lands, it's normally Moors that are helping capture other Moors in most of your lands. Because in truth, the Albion did not have the war mechanisms to colonize the world. That just doesn't exist in 1492, 1500s, or even the 1600s for them. Okay, it doesn't exist. What did exist is us fighting each other and then siding with them to help them fight our brother who we were looking at as an enemy. And then eventually we helped them beat our brother, and then they, of course, turned their direction towards us. You see what I'm saying? So that's normal.
I mean, that's even recent, right? Like, how
Yeah, that hasn't changed at all.
they use most of us in the army to go like overseas.
Exactly.
So, like,
Exactly. It's us going colonizing the rest of the world for them. Still the same issue, that we're dealing with now. When we're looking at the of course, the Constitution comes from Muslim law. Now, the Muslim law is going to be the great law of peace that it comes from. And so never forget that the great law of peace literally becomes the Constitution. So when they were attempting to set up a perpetual government, because under the Articles of Confederation, it was so limited that the central government did not have enough authority within the colonies, within the states. So they didn't have a central mark of finance. They had limited powers with dealing with treaties. They had limited powers for taxation, all of those things. So it wasn't something that would stand. And so what they did is, of course, now during this time, what we also have to understand with the Articles of Confederation, this was, even with that, it was a lot of Moors in power under the Articles of Confederation. Now, how do we know that? Who's the first president?
John Adams.
And he was the president under Articles of Confederation, and he was a Moor. So again, we're going back and forth to, all these different things that we have to pull in to really get a better scope of what actually was taking place versus what they're telling you is taking place. Because we're taught that we were enslaved, but the truth is that in 1630, you had more Albions here enslaved than you had Moors. It was only in 1630, it was only a documented, well, let me rephrase. In 1630, there was only 300 documented POWs from Al-Kabalan. There was only 300 in 1630. At this time, what you had was a lot of Albions who were enslaved. And in the 1630s, we were still had rule and dominion over the lands, and we were enslaving them. Most of your Albions coming here were enslaved by the Moors, here on this land. And eventually our Moors Bonnevilles, okay, so you'll hear Moors Bonnevilles, they end up becoming your plantations after we fail. So we fall, and then all of a sudden now they get this plantation. So any questions about any of that before we go ahead and move on into these articles? Or amendments, excuse me.
So the fact that Moors were in power doesn't necessarily mean that was necessarily a good thing, because didn't seem like they really wanted to do the right thing.
We've been enslaving and fighting each other for thousands of years. That whole thing where everyone wants to act like, we were only kings and queens and all that garbage. We've been fighting each other for so long. I mean, we didn't had strife between, mother and son for thousands of years. We've been disrespecting our mothers for thousands of years. We've been fighting our brothers for thousands of years. This is not new. This is why we're in this condition. You see what I'm saying? So no, it was a lot of Moors who were selling, other Moors out. A lot of your tribes, who were Moors were selling the other Moorish tribes out, and all types of garbage. So it's not anything new. It's not nothing new at all, and you can see it. You see it within, a lot of the ignorance that's going on within the Moorish groups itself right now. You see the same ignorance. So if you just take our current situation, you can see it and put it back into history and see what's going on. We kill each other like it's no big deal. It's no biggie. We steal from each other like it's no biggie. It's just that's where we at. You know what I mean? And so because of that, all you have to do is take today and you can put it back into history and you can see exactly how we got here.
Right. History repeats itself.
Yeah. Until someone decides to change it. You see what I'm saying? So until we decide that, it stops right here, until we decide to do it, until, people decide to do it, then it continues. And you still continue to sell out to others.
But it's, I think it's hard for people to change if they don't know what happened. If they don't know the history of what really happened, it's hard for them to change it.
That's exactly why they don't know what happened. Because they're not going to tell them. Not going to tell them.
Information is there, right?
It is indeed.
It's in plain sight, isn't it?
No, not necessarily. Well,
Plain sight, if you can see. Yeah, if you can see, it's right there. You know what I mean? It's right there.
but you need to have some keys. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have some keys to unlock some of the things that you're looking at. If you don't have certain keys, you can look at something and not understand what you're looking at.
So like you can go to Philly, and in Philly they have a statue, and they have a Moor standing on a statue, standing on top of a turtle, and it says Turtle Island, telling you what one of the ancient names of this place of Amexem is. Turtle Island. We called it Turtle Island, and the statue's right there. You go to the Library of Congress. When you're around the Library of Congress, people have put up pictures where you see they have pictures of us in statues with our fezes on. You go to, the Mummers Day Parade, where they are celebrating the mumming of the word. Mum's the word. You see what I'm saying? So a lot of it is right there, but if you don't know, you can go right down the street. The shirt I got on, they got a sign right down the street that tells you North Gate. But if you don't know what the North Gate means, you know what I mean? Like, you don't know that they telling you what this is, the North Gate.
We don't know the significance.
Right. We call in half the street signs you see around here deal with our Aboriginal ancestry, but we'll say, oh, that's Mexican stuff. I mean, like, that we will. We just say it's Mexican, and it's not Mexican. There's no such thing as a Mexican in the first place, but that's a whole nother issue. But they'll put it in front of us. We'll ignore it. I mean, even in the Constitution, the Constitution tells you nothing about people voting for a president. Nothing. Put it up, and people will still say that people vote for the president. But the Constitution says people, well, it doesn't say people don't. It says who votes for the president, but people will still say they vote for the president, although the Constitution says that there are certain people who vote for the president. But people will still say, no, we vote for the president.
Doesn't the Constitution also mention how we used to vote for like lawmen, like sheriffs, or like certain law enforcement, but nowadays they get basically hired in like mercenaries?
The Constitution says that deals with the what is the word? The giving of the power, the extending of power, and it talks about who can do that. And so it'll talk about the delegation of authority coming through Congress, and how these different entities have to have certain documents that prove they have authority, and that it'll speak about anyone holding an office. It has to be bound by oath. All those things. It'll tell you that, but people will swear A policy enforcement agent is an officer. So you call an officer every day, although he has no office. And in order to be an officer, you must have an office. You see, you must have an office. Yeah, an officer is elected. See? So, it deals with all that, but again, we have to stop ignoring it. Or like you said, we got to have the keys. We got to have people around us who are willing to give us those degrees. Who are willing to pass it down so that we can make sure that everybody's, still getting it or able to get it. Let's jump into the First Amendment. The following are amendments to the Constitution. The first 10 amendments collectively are commonly known as the Bill of Rights. Okay, so a little background. Okay, about the amendments. The amendments were not originally a part of the Constitution. When the Constitutional Convention ended, you had a lot of the representatives who were not happy with it, and that held up the Constitution being fully accepted within the country. You had an individual named George Mason. George Mason. He was an individual from Virginia who had already established, what are they called? I forgot what it's called, but there's some laws he had established for personal liberty within Virginia. So he already started working on those things. So he had been able to get with some other entities within the different states, not deal with personal liberty. So the Constitution in the beginning only dealt with the setup and the maintenance of the government entities, but it did not protect people. Now, this was a major fear, of course, because again, we're coming out, not we, but they are coming out of dealing with the brutes, okay, the British. Okay, and so you're dealing with taxation without representation. You're dealing with all those different things, okay? And so you also want to study the Holy Charter, the Magna Charta. Okay, the Magna Charta is what's called the new law. Okay, that's the new law, and it was given by the people. Was it King George?
Magna Carta?
Mm-hmm.
King John, I think.
Is it John?
Yeah, 1200.
Yeah. Yeah. So you have that. What had happened is that under that government, it had gotten extremely tyrannical, and they were impeding on the. Let me get it, and I'll show you. What was happening is that they were impeding on the personal liberties of the people, and the government of Great Britain at the time was overstepping its bounds. Okay, no one's going to be able to read that. So, what the people did is they got together and they formed the Magna Carta, and it just means new law. And what they did is that they forced the kingdom at the time all right, so you'll see, let me share it on here so everyone can see it. Did I do it right?
Yeah.
So you have the heck is this? On the screen.